Good evening once again. We have important issue to discuss as concerns educational activities. And today, we want to consider tax matters, Finance Act 2021, the impacts on educational activities or business. Finance Act 2021 has affected so many businesses in diverse ways, and especially on educational activities. Our concerns, especially this evening, is on the impact of Finance Act 2021 on educational activities. We could remember that pre-finance Acts 2021, educational business activities were enjoying tax exemptions. That means that schools were not expected to pay tax of any kind because schools were classified as one of the public character. But today, school owners should remember also that they were enjoying all tax freedom. But the coming in of the Finance Act 2021 into law has brought school educational activities into a wider tax net. You could equally remember that before January 2021, Section 23 in 1C of the Companies Income Tax Act, CITA, exempted the profits of a company engaged in educational activities, which is a public character, from income tax in Nigeria. Schools in Nigeria are now demanded or required to remit or to pay company income tax on any income generated from educational activities. The period of exemptions from taxes are over. In fact, the school are incorporated as company limited by guarantee. What I'm trying to say is that the fact that here the schools are incorporated as a company limited by guarantee or incorporated trustees engaging in educational activities of a public character are not free from CIT liability. That is a company income tax liability. That is to say that the public character statutes no longer applicable to companies carrying out educational activities. And so many people are engaging in educational activities. But you need to understand the present statutes and situations as per the law or the tax issues affecting schools. So the school operators should listen to this important information. This may not mean anything to you and your school business today, but it will affect your business tomorrow as you are growing your educational activities. So the owners of those schools that fall within the taxable threshold should prepare for paying company income tax. You know, some people don't like hearing about taxes. But as long as business individuals, and especially on the educational activities, you may think that, well, I'm not qualified to pay tax just because your school is small. But don't forget that the aim of your business is to grow the business. And as the business is expanding, the school activity is expanding, you are widening your own. You are opening more gap for the government to come in. So it is important that you take this to heart and know how to prepare for the coming days, for the future of your educational activities. Now let's look at size of business and educational activities. Finance Act 2021 also group businesses based on their turnover. Mark that word, turnover. So educational activities is also classified based on their turnover. Now, what are the basis of this classification? There are three categories. Number one is small companies. Number two is a medium-sized company. And number three is the large companies. Now, the Finance Act spelled out that small companies with a turnover less than 25 million annually will be subjected to 0% CIT rates. That means that if your turnover is less than 25 million, you are expected to pay a 0% rate of taxes. Number two is the medium companies with turnover over 25 millions but less than 100 million. If your turnover is within these brackets, you are expected to pay company income tax on the 20% rate. So you will be subjected, that business will be subjected, that educational activities will be subjected by 20% company income tax to the government. So you should now begin to look at the size of your business. And as you are growing, you should go along with this mentality. So the last size of the business is what we call large companies with turnover above 100 million. At this point, 30% CIT rate is applicable. So you can see now the rating. Look at your business today and look at your plans and your programs. The next 5 years, where would your business be? What are the size, or what should be the size of your expected educational system activities within or the next 5 or 10 years? And if you're expecting growth and expansions, so you should think on your tax or tax implications, especially the company income tax based on the Finance Acts. Now, the only school or educational activities that is exempted from the Company Income Tax Act is those registered as a limited liability partnership. So this kind of educations under this cover or cover is exempted. The Act still exempts such school from company income tax. Now let's look at impact of business registration statutes. A company formed for the promotion of education shall not be registered as a company limited by shares, but may be registered as a company limited by guarantee. That is stated in CAMA, Company and Allied Matters Degree, or Acts 26, Section 26, Sub 1. It said that for some of us that want to register school, sometimes you don't know the procedures, you don't know the process, you don't ask. You only itch to go for registration of schools. So a company that formed for the promotion of education shall not be registered as company limited by shares, but may be registered as a company limited by guarantee. And that is spelled out in CAMA, Section 26. Now, if we now equally move from here and go into the incorporations, let's look at incorporated statutes. Business name, number 1. Business registered as business names carrying out some educational activities are exempted from personal income tax. 2. Business limited by shares, guarantee, are now liable to company income tax. So incorporated trustees, according to Section 23 of CETA, as amended in Finance Acts 2021, being an entities carrying out educational activities will also be liable and also subjected to withholding tax. Liable and subjected to withholding tax. Now, apart from these other mentioned taxes, based on the sizes of our business and the incorporated statutes, there are taxes that is a must. We call it tax obligations. That is why the fact that you are subjected to, your business or educational activities are subjected to the above mentioned 0% rate and 20% and 30%. There are some tax obligations that must. Number 1, CIT, company income tax, 30% for large companies and 20% for mediums will also comply to educational tax of 2.5% on assessable profits for the annual assessment. So that means that after you have been subjected, the educational activities have been subjected to, if it is large, 30%, and if medium, 20%, then there's another tax that you must have to pay, and that is a must. That is educational tax. It is now 2.5% of your assessable profits. Number 2, VAT, value added tax. There's a reverse charge. This must be noted that where educational institutions receive vatable services from foreign entities or small big companies with no VAT on the transactions, they are now demanded or required to self-charge VAT and remit or pay same to the FIRS in the currency of that same transactions. So you can say that the incoming acts of finance acts has changed so many things. But then I have this to tell all the school owners. There is urgent information I need to pass to you. Having known that educational activities is not business as usual, the government and its agents, tax authorities, has now unveiled the educational activity veil. All the cover-ups have been opened up. So there's no hiding place for any business. And to you as an institutions or educational institutions, so you must have to do something urgently, belt up, and get ready for tax authority. And of course, some of the school owners have started receiving the heat from the tax authority. The reason why I bring this is to help you get yourself prepared, like I said, because more of this will be coming. And if you're not prepared at this point in time, you will either close your business or the government's tax authorities will be feasting on you. So why not think on this and do this urgently? The following things is what you should do at this point. Number one, be sure that you keep and maintain all your financial records. I told you that educational activities or running schools is not business as usual. So you must have to keep and maintain all your financial records. Number two, prepare your annual financial statements. It is a must. There's a mistake that so many school owners make today because they feel that their school is small. I don't care about the finance, the accounting aspect of it. So I wish that you take a lead from here to make sure that as your business grow, your accounting should be built, established. Number three, start building up sound school accounting foundations. Lay it now. Because if you don't do it now, as your business is expanding and grow, by the time you come in to do it, you're going to have a serious challenge on the accounting of the school. Number four, open a separate bank account for your business and school business. The mistake that so many people do is that they are either paying the school money into their private accounts or into another company account. No, you are going to create more problem for yourselves. So to be on the safe side, you should pull out, since your business is, the school is registered, opened a separate bank account for that school business. And every money, fees, and other things that you do concerning the school should be emanating or should be hosting in that particular account. It will enable you to have a smooth accounting information. So, number six, please separate your private money and transaction from your business transactions. They are not the same. I've come to notice and understand that some of the school owners or those that are involved in educational activities feel that it's their money. But with the way we are going now in the country, and based on the windows into the school on tax matters, I think you need to learn a lesson. Directors, proprietors, proprietors, and the school managers and the school administrators, you have to open your eyes. Let's stop mixing up our personal transactions and the business transactions. They are not the same. And if you are a proprietor, you should be able at this point in time and decide on how much the school business should be paying you at the end of the month, instead of you dipping hands into business money and use it as you wish. It has a deep repercussions. Number 7, open and maintain fixed assets register for all your assets and projects. All your assets, the buildings, the furnitures, and machineries, because you will need this when it comes to a point you want to claim some allowances. Have complete register or asset register for all your assets. Because if you want to claim any allowances tomorrow, it will depend on qualified capital expenses. Those capitals or those assets that you are used to generate fund or money, income in that business will be qualified for allowances. Number 8, you may not like to hear this, but you have to do it. And I also come to discover that there are so many people are cutting corners to pay little money to tax agents. Don't forget that in tax, we have what we call tax audits. And if you are cutting corners and be paying this small money, you don't have to walk away. By the time the veil will be opened and the tax authority comes in for tax investigations or audits, you'll be surprised. You will pay heavily. Why not do the right thing now? Do the right thing now based on your available information and not to cut corners. So pay your tax as a proprietress, pay your tax, the school administrators and managers, pay your tax, pay the tax of your staff. That's what we call staff payee, pay as you earn. And then it is time that you begin to look for some helpers outside your schools. Good. You don't have money to employ qualified accountants or consultants, but there are accountants, there are tax agents or professionals that you can engage to help you work out these things in order to save your head, save your business from embarrassment tomorrow. So do what? Get the services of accountants and tax personnel. It is in my heart when I see what is going on around in the education system. So it is my pleasure to bring this important information to you. And if this information is important, indispensable, why not subscribe to it, share it with others? And if you have any issue, you can drop in your comments. So, thank you for being here today. And send the information out to others, so they can also benefiting from this important training. Thank you for coming today. And I want to check back or check our previous YouTube. We have some matters that has to do with taxes and finance. And I think school, you're going to need this at this critical time. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.